Hello, my name is Christine Swanberg. I am the first official Poet Laureate of Rockford, which I am surprised, thrilled, and humbled by. I'm hoping to use my work for the betterment of the community, and I'm thrilled to be starting the year by helping with the UU fundraiser, and I thank you for that opportunity. The idea behind this is the Danish concept of Hygge, which is spelled a little differently than it sounds. And so I'm going to do just a little improvisational wintry mix, I guess we could call it, and then poems sort of celebrating the season of winter and coziness. With everything that has been happening in the world, here we are in winter, and many of us are pretty much sheltering in place. So the thought being that if we can make the most out of that and find the coziness in it, or even the spells that we can have in winter, that perhaps we'll get through this time period and into an absolutely glorious spring. So I'm going to begin and end the readings with spells. The first spell is called January Spell. For any of you that are really interested in poetry, it happens to be a sonnet. Magenta sunset points like a pine tree from the corner of my bedroom window. All is quiet here this January. The cat snuggles against my pillow. Dusk brings colors magnified by winter when stars begin to hang like icicles. The indigo night begins its enter and softly from its corners tickles Venus and Saturn near the ringed moon. Come, a winter night, to bless our slumber. From your vast horizon, a silent tune. May our dreams be light and unencumbered. Rise and cast your spell, cold winter night. Under blankets of deep sleep, dreams take flight. I was kind of astonished to find out that at least 10 people were interested in this, and I'm imagining that many of the people are maybe my age, and I'm calling that past my prime. This is called One January Morning, Past Your Prime. -6 degrees, frozen ribbon of a dusky red behind the trees this sunrise. Sun on window pane terrarium, ferns, sparkling diamond seas, Lalique birds floating over crystal mountains, wrapped warm in your white robe, coffee with cream, engine starting slowly, but starting. This day when most stress and striving leaves footprints behind you, heading to the finish line, more like a turtle than a hare. Marvel at destiny, good fortune, despite the Sherpa's pack of obstacles on your back. You stood the course, perseverance, a life coach shouting behind the scenes. How you kept your promises to arrive here, this cold morning past your prime, in your warm house, free from mortgage or wayward desire that fueled the person you used to be, before you saw the world, before your loves, your scars, your betrayals and compromises, the hard-won victories, windfalls that flew in like wayward swans, myriad kindnesses like flocks of sparrows. The casino still jingles, your bets are hedged towards more, a bird or two in your pocket. Marvel at the cardinal that endures sub-zero, bright red and full of fervor, waiting to take flight one more time. It's not easy living in the Midwest. And we have to figure out all sorts of ways to keep ourselves happy during winter. And so this is a little sonnet called Winter's Favor. When the world is a black and white photo and all the trees are defined like bare bones, and the snow-laden pine makes a grotto and the winter whipping wind whimpers and moans, then we rest inside our hearths unencumbered. We kindle the fire, turn inward desire to things long forgotten, now remembered. And if we might ask what this day might require, the answer may be sublime or serene, a closet or book, a movie or nook, a project put off, some silver to clean, perhaps something quite delicious to cook. You must find something so good to savor if you want to stay in winter's favor. When I put a little reading together, I like to make sure that the poems sort of bounce off of each other, and so I hope this next one does. It's from my newest book, Wild Fruitions, Sonnets, Spells, and Other Incantations. And so this book has a lot of sonnets and spells in it, which is a little different from my other work, which is mostly free verse. And this is called Snow Salsa. It was really kind of inspired by my late and great Kitty Marmoset, who loved to dance with me and get some exercise in the winter, turning on tropical music and trying to salsa, and she'd kind of come in there and do that with me too. So this is called Snow Salsa. Dancing with the wind, slanted snow swivels, salsa slashing the windows. We're snowed in. A corner icicle hangs and drivels like an intravenous glucose machine. I put on Tropicali's channel and dance to a solo sequestered salsa of sorts, a solitary rendezvous, not blue. Midwesterners must always be good sports when winter comes conquering and calling. We dance and read, watch old movies, maybe paint a closet or polish brass. Befalling all it can befall, snow on limb of tree. Stay in salsa a day, you swaying snow. Just a day, okay? Then you have to go. So that kind of got us through January. So here is a poem that is sort of set in January, but it's really remembering somebody who lives on the West Coast, where the weather probably is a lot different than it is here. This is called the butterfly tree for my late friend Carla Andersdotter. Like monarchs returning to the butterfly tree, large snowflakes sail past the window, landing on the overgrown junipers, snow butterflies landing like sunshine. I know a woman who lives where a real butterfly tree grows, sideways from a hill near the San Andreas Fault, nearly wind-thrown. Deep-rooted, it survives Pacific gusts, floods, and even the earth swaying beneath its fingers doesn't send it crashing. There, each November, monarchs would return, awaited like a call of a lover. In those days, they returned in droves, thick as snow, orange boughs. And when many died, as butterflies do, she took them in and scattered them on her Christmas tree. At this moment, it's January in Illinois. A pair of cardinals search for juniper berries. Delicate talons leave a soft snow calligraphy. And on to February. That seems to me always the hardest of months because you're really, really tired now of winter. This bitter cold February morning, somewhere twixt solitary and lonely, so quiet you hear your mind exploring dark, familiar paths. You think, if only this, if only that, then what might have been in your parallel universe, the place all your daring dreams dance. Remember Zen, all unfolding process, eager white space. Remember nothing but what's before you this winter day filled with promises. Savor lunch with a friend, chai tea to brew, a car that starts, a cat to feed, dances to salsa in the den, suds and shower. You move ahead, ready for this hour. And sometimes we get so much snow, it's unbelievable. And I love these Facebook posts that say, if you are upset with the snow, you can't enjoy it. And I think there's some truth to that. So this is called Listen to the Snow. The summer sedum slump, bedraggled by a bedlam of new snow. Snow so thick it bends the large lilacs and topples prairie grass. At last the city is perfectly quiet, its recent crime rave on hold. Snow a better antidote to violence than all the men with guns. A blizzard brings out the best in neighbors. This minute, Anthony, snow still falling gently on his blue parka, shovels the driveway of our oldest resident here on our quaint street where maples hold snow in their limbs. Everything is closed. We settle in, reconfiguring our day to meet the snow's agenda. Today, snow is the boss of everything. School, traffic, appointments, meetings, choirs, trysts, operations, helicopters, vacations obey. Snow's sweet command. Stop everything you are doing. Be still. Adjust your entire day, so says the snow. Finish that book, snow says. Be kind to neighbors and pets. Fill the bird feeder. Clear your desk. Call your mother. Write this poem. Learn to wait, snow says. Listen to the glorious, complete quiet of this day. Tomorrow, when the city has done its best to rid the pestilence of snow, when we've had enough of snowmen and hot chocolate, tomorrow, when things get back to normal, whatever that may be, snow's sweet quiet will linger for a moment, then melt into the day's business as usual. But in your bones, you know, snow transforms like a powerful meditation, a great reminder that there's something to be said for that slow silence snow bestows on anyone who cares to listen to the snow. One kind of coziness, I suppose, is looking out the window and watching winter birds. And I'm wild about birds, really almost to a fault. I watch them constantly and get to know them, and they kind of become my pals. And we had an epic blizzard probably 10 years ago, and all the birds disappeared, and I was so frightened because I thought that they had all perished. They were gone for like 2 weeks. And so that's the inspiration behind this poem, The Alleluia Tree, which is also the title of another collection with Pudd'nhead Press, named by my publisher. He liked the idea of the Alleluia Tree being used in a different way. The epic blizzard tore and tumbled through bare maples, grumbling locusts, tilting pines, and toppling prairie grass. Nothing this severe since the early 70s. We woke to Siberian drifts, pressing sliding doors, a deck slightly sway back, skylights packed with snow, thick as cement, the holes of feeders and birdhouses rimmed with ice. Winter regulars struggled to get their seeds, their feathers puffed and coated with snow. I sang a song of lamentation for the birds, watching them grow, invisible and silent. A sudden drop to 20 below. I feared the birds had perished and prayed for chirogenic miracles, which I have since learned is actually called torpor. For over a year, not one woodpecker, for over a week, not one woodpecker, cardinal, chickadee, junco, sparrow, nor jay joined forces against the wind. One poor swallow finally dared and soon became the breakfast of a silver hawk perched upon the fence like a winged gargoyle. I prayed for acceptance, but harbored the wish to put a bullet through the head of Old Man Winter, not the bird, however. When a savage thaw turned the streets to creeks, I heard a great commotion on the bare maple, a cacophony of birdsong, wild and insistent, a great collective chant. There, on sagging branches, were 21 birds, every one of my regulars, a pair of woodpeckers, a pair of cardinals, and all the rest, like Noah's Ark. I'm not one to believe in signs, and I have no idea where my winter birds went for one frozen week in February, to return plump and full of fervor to my little sanctuary and my love for them. But that little maple will always be my Alleluia tree. If you're from this area, I'm sure that you have walked the bike path many times, as I have. And sometimes it's enchanting, even when it's a little dangerous and a little icy. This poem is a very, very old poem. I probably wrote it in, I want to say 1990. It's called Walking Along the Rock River. I had just recovered from a badly broken leg, and so just being able to walk was miraculous. So this is called Walking Along the Rock River. There were times when walking here would not have been enough. Times my restless spirit needed an ocean, not this river, serene and simple. But today I thank each wild place in this trip composite, compassion winding like this river. Let them be milk pods in a Hopi basket woven serpentine, one spirit strand placed wrong to prove we're human. Just today I hear ice like wind chimes. Wonder how long they've sung their 1,000 haiku, how long the sun has carved these transient diamonds, how the mallard's emerald chevron came to be a vagrant stamp of evolution, holding a code I may never know. This feather, fallen in the snow. I was once challenged this year to write a poem about not leaving in winter. And so this is called When I Think of Leaving Winter, and it's kind of a positive view of winter. One of my favorite things about winter is when there's etchings on the window, and they're so amazing. I mean, it's enough to make you believe in God, just that alone, because really, where does that artistry come from? It's just magnificent. When I think of leaving winter, forever beneath bougainvillea twining in tropics, I would miss most frost etchings left on my window by an omnipotent artist who never duplicates the frost terrarium calligraphied on glass. Sometimes I swear a bird flies from a river's edge lined in the prairie grass and the stones. Sometimes a jungle awaits me beside the desk, or the snow flows through carved canyons, surprising fern or undefined flora clumped in its crevices. I would miss chevrons of tiny evergreens, nestled near lakes, leaves and stars hung together over a splash of glass. When I think of leaving winter behind forever, warm ocean breezes tousling my hair, I might miss real fires burning in the cozy hearth, those first few days of snow so quiet you didn't even know it fell, while you slept huddled under a blanket. Sometimes a book, trashy or classy, invites me to spend the day inside reading for no good purpose but to enjoy the plot and reverie. I'd miss permission to spend a lazy day on something soft with a cat and a caftan and hot chocolate anticipation. On the other hand, I'm sure you'll understand, sometimes I just hate winter. And sometimes I just absolutely cannot wait to get away. And one of my dreams has always been to be able to spend a little more time in the tropics. So here's a new sonnet. It just came out in quill and parchment. It's called Snowbird. Now as the last jasmine drops its flower that tumbles and falls tumultuous wind, and hummingbirds and goldfinch devour food kind humans leave for them who depend on sweet water, coneflower seeds, suet hanging on the maple about to turn. I can't help hear a snowbird call. Do it. Leave this cold place a while and discern where heart and spirit bid. The tropics call again this year against melancholy. A bright beach cottage beckons me when fall promises ice to come with the holly. Again this year, I will leave the Midwest, for I just can't pass Old Man Winter's test. You ever feel that way? That winter's kind of a test you have to pass. When I was younger, though, I loved winter, and I was much more winter hardy. And one of the reasons, I think, was because I had a horse. And when you go riding in the winter, the horse kind of keeps you warm, and there's something really sensual about the crisp, cold air hitting your face, but the warmth of the body and the air coming from the nostrils of the horse. It's kind of a unique experience, and I used to love doing that. Of course, one thing about owning a horse is you begin to realize just exactly how much work it is before you actually can get on the horse. And so this is called Before Grooming the Horse in Winter. But I think the biggest lessons that I learned from horseback riding were the lessons of nature. That's when I learned about what the flora and fauna were and what the different birds were, and sort of learned or tried to learn more to speak the language of animals. And I think this poem is when I first realized I didn't know how to speak the language of animals and wanted to learn. It's called Before Grooming the Horse in Winter. The mare searches for old kernels with her nose and finds them lodged within the berry spears. She wants the bundled bales, but she's not close enough behind the bales to reach the tears. A loose whinny drops her liquid muzzle, and when Bruce the brown tomcat wraps his tail around her fetlock, their noses nuzzle. She rolls him. He leaps to the highest bale. Her icy tail whips against an old gray plank, sets Bruce upon his haunches, but she forgets their game, content to munch away. They touch like willow blossoms in the barn and speak a language I'm too fast to learn. And so, for the end of the reading, I'm going to go back to a spell, and it's called Winter Spell. And I think I'm supposed to put a plug in for this. If any of you would like copies of either Wild Fruition or the Alleluia Tree, you can get them from the Unitarian Church, I think through Wendy Bennett, who will let me know. And all of the proceeds from that, they're $12 each, will go directly into the fundraiser. Winter Spell. When Venus, I really ought to say Jupiter this year because of the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, but that's not when I wrote this poem, so please forgive this. When Venus glides by Mars and 7 planets stitch a diamond necklace under Capricorn in the southwest twilight, and a tangerine moon rises like a phoenix through murky clouds, find a depression glass vase. Imagine the midwife who kept it near her canary long before you were born. Listen to them. Recite all the blessings of the year, even those you didn't wish for, especially those. Place orange bittersweet and a few Chinese lanterns in the vase, invoking lost loves that have brought you to this cold enchantment. Lay the vase on a windowsill where the moon casts long shadows through the bare trees, and a cat with one good eye might sleep curved in a grapevine basket next to the Dreamer's Dictionary from Goodwill. Find the 5 dreams you can remember, reading their meaning softly. Arrange them into a story that begins with once upon a time in the land of and ends with happily ever after. Tell the story to someone you long for. Then, looking out the window, remember footprints in hard-packed snow. Cat, deer, rabbit, raccoon, crow, sparrow. Remember them as you brew hot tea, mint, chamomile, and rose hips in a Nippon teapot from Salvation Army. As the tea steeps, find a ring of moonstone, opal, and coral, and a red woolen scarf. Wearing them, mix a potion of pepper, nutmeg, and curry in a wooden bowl. Sprinkle in the doorway and sneeze thrice. Sing a song from childhood. Any song will do. Return to the tea, adding cream and honey before you drink it slowly. When steam fogs the window, no evil shall enter here, where only the enchanted live. So that's our cozy evening together of winter poetry, and I think I'll end with another little wintry improvisation at the piano. Thank you for spending the evening with me, and all the best to the Unitarians who are doing such good work in the community. I hope their fundraiser was a great success.